This is Rose Gibbins, our UKIP candidate for Northampton South. She'll be standing in general election come the 7th of May. She's one of 5 candidates that has been invited to the college here at Lower Mounts, and she is the first one to visit us here today. We invited all candidates standing in Northampton South, Northampton North and Daventry to the relevant sites, and we've been lucky enough to have kind of here. Now some of you may be first time voting, and you may never have actually met a politician before, or going to be a politician before. This is your opportunity to do so. So Rose will speak a bit about herself. This is her campaign manager Tom as well, who's here for the ride. And this is Luke, who's our Vice President of the Student Union at Bleed Lane. What will happen, Rose will speak about herself, Luke will then ask some questions on behalf of your principal, and then we'll open up the floor if any of you guys want to have any questions, okay? So Rose, would you just like to say a bit?
Thank you very much, Will. Thank you very much for inviting me today, and ladies, thank you very much for letting me come and speak to you. Just from a personal point of view, I'm 68 years old. I had retired 3 years ago, but I came back into politics because I felt that I had a contribution to make nationally, but more importantly, to the people here in Northampton. I do believe you've had a pretty rough deal recently with different councils not delivering the things that you need. I know on the education side the cuts have been quite severe, and I'd like to outline to you my party's policies on that when we have the questions. If not, I'll cover that at the very end. You probably gathered from my accent that I'm not local. I'm from Scotland, but I moved here 40 years ago. My husband Ian is from Northampton, as are his family for many generations, and I'm very pleased to have moved here. This is my home now. My background is that for 40 years we travelled with the Foreign Office across the world. I've lived in every continent except one. I've lived extensively in Europe, and our last posting was in Kenya, in Africa, as you know, where I, excuse me, where I saw some real extreme poverty for myself. And that drove me to join UKIP. I believe that people generally need a better deal, and I believe that our party can deliver it. One of the most important things for us is to focus, the first and the foremost priority for us is fairness. We would like everyone to have an opportunity to have a say in what they're meant for them in local democracy and nationally. That's not always the case at the moment. I won't bore you with the system of politics because it is quite complex, but basically at the moment in the borough council and the county councils, you have a core group of 7 people who make all of the decisions. They don't have to go to the people, they have that power through the legal process, and we want to change that. My focus is in giving you a voice. You're up and coming voters, some of you are already voters. We need to encourage you to vote. There's a huge percentage of people, 18% in Northampton South alone, that do not actually vote. They're not registered to vote. So when my campaign team and myself go on the doors and talk to people, the first thing we ask them is whether they're registered to vote, so that we can get that cohort back in. Politics is boring, let's face it, it's boring. Your lives are full. You're in a college that's offering you an opportunity for a fantastic education and skills for the future. You're all going to be great in what you do. You're going to have all of this to take forward. But at some stage, you're going to need politicians. At some stage, you're going to need people to speak up for you. I'd like to hope very much that once we finish today, that will be me, and I thank you for your time. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you, Rose. So, Luke, who's the Vice President of Student Union, is going to ask you some questions now from students and on behalf of Pat. So just take on board what Luke's asking, the comments from Rose. Tom as well may pipe up now and again if he feels need to, and then once we've done that, we'll open the floor up to you guys, okay?
The first question is, what would you do to ensure that government-funded training at college leads directly to getting a job?
UKIP has a policy of having apprenticeships instead of 4 core GCSE subjects when you're at school, and that will continue through and into college. Having secure jobs is very important for the whole future, but the other thing we're going to do, not for college but for universities, we're going to remove tuition fees for science, technology, engineering, maths and medicine. I know it doesn't apply to you. We have to look seriously about how we carry the skills that you have into employment. The Conservatives are saying they're going to produce 1,000 jobs a day. I don't know how that will happen, but they say they're going to do it. UKIP will look to having more jobs for the future for the young people, because that's where our economy will thrive. We can't have a good economy unless we have people in work. We will do our very best to make sure that the skills that you're learning today can get you into employment. I'm sure that's what you all want. We don't have any particular policy. Our manifesto is coming out today and it's not available yet, but I can come back with a fuller reply later on exactly what our proposals are. We're very, very keen on university technical colleges as well. There's one in Daventry which was promoted by our UKIP councillor there, so we want to open many, many more of them, and more colleges like this one, where more people can come and have the opportunity to have the skills you're developing today.
The second question is, as funding for adult education decreases by 24% for the 2015 to 2016 academic year, how do politicians expect adult education to be supported in the future?
Most politicians will make you promises, especially this short time away from an election, about what they're going to do and what they're going to promise, but in reality they probably won't deliver. Politicians need to refocus. They have to remember that they work for the people. When you vote for them, they work for you. You're their boss, it's not the other way around. Personally, I would rather we focused a lot more on delivering that funding for education than providing huge expenses and allowances to members of parliament. And we shouldn't allow them to have jobs outside so they can earn more money in addition to the salary. My own commitment today would be to ensure that those cuts are put back into place, that there is more money available. We cannot have a viable future economy. You cannot have a future. You can't be looking to bring up your families. You can't be looking to have a house. You can't be looking to have a proper future unless you've got the money to do it with. And cuts in education won't help that process. So I'll be focusing on making sure that everything is available. I understand from Will that the bursary is being cut for students that need that support. That is fundamentally wrong. You can't have people coming to college and then saying, well, your bursary is being cut. How are they supposed to know where they stand with their finances, or if their parents are supporting them someone else, or if they've got a part-time job? They have to watch every single penny they're spending, and it's wrong. There should be no cuts in education. UKIP, I know, are committed to a future for all young people, and we'll make sure that there aren't any further cuts, and we'll try to reinstate the ones that have already been made.
Leading on from that question, with the regards to university, would you be raising or lowering uni fees, and will it take a lot of time to come into effect?
We won't be changing tuition fees, we won't be raising and we won't be lowering. As I've already said, we're bringing in free tuition for science, technology, engineering, maths and medicine, provided those people, when graduating, pay into the system on national insurance for 5 years and stay in employment in the United Kingdom for 5 years. That's a commitment that we need to make in order to have no tuition fees. We're not going to cut tuition fees. We're not going to make the kind of promises you've had before, where tuition fees will be abolished, then when the party gets into government it doesn't happen.
How are you going to help the FE sector in raising the vocational skills and qualification levels achieved by young people in the face of yet more funding cuts?
Sorry, could you repeat the first one?
How are you going to help the FE sector in raising the vocational skills and qualification levels achieved by young people in the face of more cuts?
I'd like to think that we will be mirroring what's happening here. This is a prime example across the 3 sites for what Northamptonshire can achieve. You've had a good Ofsted rating, you're working well. We need more colleges like this. We need them to fulfil the opportunities for youngsters to make sure they have that continuous education and the chance to have proper employment. That is the key. It's your future. I've had my past. I was retired to come back out of retirement. You're the ones who count. You really do count in this process. I know politics is boring. Obviously it's very boring for some. But at the end of the day, you have to engage in this. You have to recognise that we're in a democracy and your vote does count. It's your future, it's not mine. I can't make up your mind for you, but my goodness, if you elect me as your MP when you're ready to vote, or anyone else that does, I'll be there to support you in any way I can. We need more colleges like this. We need excellent colleges with high standards, and if we could mirror this one across the country, we would have huge success for the whole of the economy and everybody that lives in the country.
Do you believe that over 18 should have to pay to go back into further education?
No, I don't. No, I do not. There shouldn't be any charges whatsoever. Over 18s have gone through school, as I say. There is a potential now to come out with an apprenticeship qualification. When I was younger, I had that opportunity at my secondary school. They offered an extra year for an intensive commercial course. I studied shorthand bookkeeping and accounts and typing. And within 1 year, I came out fully qualified and went straight into a job. I was 17 at the time and I've never looked back. I joined the diplomatic service as a secretary when I was 22 and I've travelled the world. You need these skills. You need to be able to thrive. You need to be able to have a really good, secure future. And you shouldn't be penalised for that by being charged when you turn 18.
Thank you. So those were the questions that the principal wanted to ask on your behalf. Has anyone got any questions here that they'd like to ask Rose at all?
Yes.
Debbie?
I'd like to ask basically what hopefully you're going to do for class sizes. Basically class sizes are too big.
I've got 4 main pledges for the campaign. One of them is more school places for Northampton. We're facing a huge development here. There are 36,000 houses coming to Northampton in the next 5 years. That will place huge strains on everything, including schools. Currently, we don't have enough school places. People will say, well, we've got the Barrack Road site, it's going to be 1,800 pupils by 2019. It's a start, but the reality is the government now funds schools. County councils don't fund them anymore. Your mum and dad and your council tax doesn't pay for the schooling anymore through your county council tax.
Yeah,
The government bought the site at the Barrack Road. The Education Funding Agency on behalf of the government bought it, and it's now going to be developed by an academy trust, a private enterprise.
So we're talking about student class sizes.
Student class sizes.
Yeah, class sizes, because when class sizes are too big, basically, tutors not having struggled to get around everybody.
Until somebody has the good sense to introduce a proper quota for proper student-tutor relationship and interaction, this will always be the case. That's why you need to make a change. That's why when you look to the future, you have to be looking for someone else to do something very, very different from what's happened in the past. There has to be a fresh approach to many, many things in this country. And the first thing that I would do is talk to the tutors, talk to the college administrators, see where the problem lies and see what I can do to try to get some more money in. And there's people going to be doing that all over the country. There has to be a proper debate about it. Nobody actually comes and talks to the professionals. Nobody comes and talks to you, do they? Nobody asks you how you're getting on. Nobody really wants to know what your future involves. Well, I've got news for you. I do. If you want to come and see me on one-to-one, you want to email me, you want to get on my Facebook, you want to get on my Twitter, you want to come and talk to you again, just let me know. I deal with people. That's my focus. I know some of you probably aren't interested in seeing me again after today and be glad to see the back of me, but I'm offering that opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else have any questions? Yes, at the back there.
Why is the minimum wage for 16-year-olds to 17-year-olds so low?
The minimum wage is so low because companies can get away with paying only the minimum wage. And the added problem of 0 hours contracts means there will never be any real competition in that environment. They don't have to pay any more than minimum wage. And then they can take the profits between paying that and a decent wage, a living wage or a proper wage, and put it into their shareholders. That will never change until companies decide that it's about time they valued their employees a whole lot better, and the government did the same. We should be introducing a decent wage. UKIP are going to abolish personal tax allowance so that those in the minimum wage will not pay any tax at all. And when other parties talk about putting it up to £8, there are penalties with that. Your national insurance goes up, your tax goes up, so the tax man gets some of it, the insurance goes towards your future care, and you don't get that full salary. You're penalised by it. You only get 32% of that rise. So don't be fooled by that either. What we need is a proper debate on the economy with the companies, and they need to be told. Minimum wage is not enough. A living wage is probably not enough either. These debates don't take place. You're told what the minimum wage is. Nobody engages properly with the public. I go back to my main theme. It's all about people. It's all about what you want. It's what you care about. Your parents and the children that you'll have in the future. They need to be looking forward, not backwards. And it's time we had a proper debate about this instead of having it slammed on us and saying that's all you're going to get. It has to improve. You have to be able to move forward.
Okay, any other questions at all? No? Okay then, girls. I will ask a question on behalf of the students here at Northampton, if that's okay. What can UKIP offer these students that will be looking to, once they leave, to get their own place, their own house. It becomes very difficult in order to save up for a mortgage and what have you. How are UKIP going to ensure the future of the Northampton College students if they are elected in Northampton South and nationally as well?
Housing is a huge issue. We're need to build at least 200,000 homes every year just to keep up. And as I've highlighted, we've got some development coming. Housing issues are very complex in their own way, and getting a mortgage, as you know, is not easy. It's very difficult until you're earning a proper salary. We are very disappointed that a lot of the council houses that were sold haven't been replaced like for like. And we've got this situation also of landlords and houses in multiple occupancy bringing in lots of money, but not actually charging a rent that is the type that you would be able to buy. I have 3 children. My eldest son's 36. He was very lucky. When he finished uni, the house across the road that he was from where he was renting came up for sale. He went and bought it. That was many years ago. Put himself in huge debt, but he bought it at a reasonable price. My other 2, 34 and 31, can't afford a house. So I'm talking from the heart here. I know, I'm a mother, I've experienced it, I've done the best for my children, I've paid for their education. At that time, university excuse me, fees were much lower, and I could afford to do that. UKIP cannot give any guarantees for the future unless we have the power to make these changes. We are a very small party. We are against the 2 main parties and other smaller parties as well. We would like to make those changes. I would like a better life for my children. I would like a really good life for all of you. But unless you participate, unless you actually go and vote at an election, UKIP can't make those changes until it's a bigger party with a proper voice. So I'd like you to keep all that in mind. All these questions have been very challenging. They're all about the future and they're all about the mess that we're in currently, and I welcome them all. But at the end of the day, as your UKIP MP, I'm one voice if I'm successful. We need more people who care and want to make changes. We've had the same parties up until 2010 for decades who haven't made any difference, who have actually made the housing situation worse. It's time for a change. We're entering into a brand new era in politics. UKIP is one of the smaller parties. I would like to hope that I can deliver, and I would do everything I can to meet those requirements for you and your future. I know it sounds great, I know it sounds ambitious. I'm one lady, I'm one person, but I'm prepared to do it and I'm prepared to work for you, and I hope you'll support me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rose. Okay, it's going to bring the Q&A session to a close now, because Rose and Tom do have other places that they need to be. So on behalf of Northampton College, Rose, I'd like to thank you for coming here today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. Thanks.